Alright, so I'm going to try to do this video while my daughter, my 1-year-old, is in the room, but I wanted to talk about the home prices in Tacoma. You know, I did several videos talking about this in the past that really and truly folks had a lot of questions about, and I have to say that actually the affordability has gotten much worse. Tacoma is, you know, it's funny because when you look at some of the research and the information, people have left Seattle and they started looking at Tacoma as an option, right? So a lot of the people that are from Tacoma or around Tacoma, you gotta understand, Seattle, a lot of the people there in Seattle are not born or raised in Seattle. They're coming from other places and they move into Seattle. In Tacoma, it's a little bit different. Most of the people that you come in contact with here currently are people that are from here and they've been here their whole life. Sorry. So it's a little bit different, right? The folks who are in Tacoma like we were, and we moved there to basically, you know, for jobs and careers and things, that's the bulk of the people, right? But a lot of those folks are now looking at Tacoma as a place to live because it's a lot more affordable and those types of things in terms of having the type of house that you want. I mentioned in a video before that basically to get a house in Seattle, you could buy 2 of those houses down here on average, right? So the average house price in Tacoma is about $320,000. The average house price in Seattle is pushing over $700,000. Now, could you find houses in Seattle for $300,000? Sure. Are you able to find houses down in Tacoma for $190,000, $200,000? Yeah. But a lot of the houses that you find in that price range in either city is going to have a lot of issues with it. It's going to need a lot of work. It's either going to be probably a 1-bedroom house, 1-bath type situation. Maybe not have a yard. There's going to be something that makes that price as low as it is, but you could find them for that price in either city. You will never find anything for $150,000 in Seattle. You won't really find that really now in Tacoma. It just doesn't exist. So a lot of the people from Seattle moved down to, well, not a lot of people, but many people moved down to Tacoma from Seattle due to the affordability. People in Tacoma who are born and raised here are now looking at Thurston County, which is Olympia area, for buying a home, right? So it's kind of strange. People are moving wherever they're from, the county down, because they just can't really afford the home prices. So now Seattleites are pushing locals who want to buy a home, pushing them out of the market because of affordability. People in Seattle has the money. They don't have enough money to buy homes in Seattle per se, but they got the money to buy homes down in Tacoma. The folks in Tacoma don't have the money to buy the house prices now that they've gone up, but they have the money to afford what's down in Olympia and so on and so forth. Even counties such as Mason County, people are moving out to those areas. Snohomish County, of course, obviously, a lot of people are looking to live there. The prices are a little bit better in all these other counties I mentioned versus obviously Seattle. But focusing more on Tacoma, the availability of stock has gotten worse. I don't know if you can see me. The availability of stock has gotten worse, meaning that, you know, when in the real estate market, there's so many homes that should be available within a 3-month period that should be on the market for people to be able to purchase and buy. Right? And so therefore you can kind of forecast pretty much how healthy the market is, what you can set as far as the price range for homes. Of course, that comes into, there's many different things. You have to look at what the area amenities have. Is it close to a park? Crime sometimes plays a factor, even though they're not supposed to really use that. But when you're setting home prices, obviously that goes into effect. You know, how good the public transportation is, that type of thing, interstate access, what other homes are going for in the area. There's tons of things that go into a home price. But a lot of those prices here have really started to rise, and the same goes for apartments. It's nowhere near what it is in Seattle or in Bellevue, but you're starting to see prices here tick up pretty fast. And they're holding pretty steady. Even though there's more stock on the market. Now, I do have to say, you don't see a lot of teardowns here in Tacoma like you do in Seattle. In Seattle, they will go through, find a house, buy it, and tear it down and do a complete rebuild. You'll see that in Mercer Island. You'll see that all over. You don't really see a lot of that here. You do see a lot more rebuilds. I can look in the neighborhood and point out within just a few blocks from where we are of homes that are complete rebuilds. In fact, one is just really across the street from us that is a complete rebuild, and they just now recently sold that home. There's another one that, excuse me, is not far from here that is a complete rebuild. I mean, not a rebuild, but a complete build. Brand new home. Nothing was ever there before. The good thing for Tacoma is there's a lot of space. There's a lot of available land for homes to be built. And even in areas of Tacoma that once were kind of slash and stab neighborhoods or neighborhoods that were kind of questionable, you're starting to see activity take off in the positive direction. So even just looking on Pacific Avenue, or Pac Ave as some people call it, you're seeing a lot of development go on. Mainly in areas probably south of 72nd Street, if you're kind of familiar with that area. 72nd and Pac. That area has recently seen a lot of restaurants and new things. There's a new Starbucks that's going in, complete new build Starbucks going in there. You're seeing Sonic that opened up recently, Planet Fitness. All of these things have been really and truly rebuilt. New strip malls that existed before, they've completely redone all of them. So if you look down at Spanaway, that whole area on Pac Avenue looks like it's completely brand new. All of the shopping centers and the stores and shops and everything, they're all completely brand new. As you come further north, you run into the Parkland area, and it's seeing a rebirth, right? So Parkland is also, sorry, my daughter's playing on her puppy. Parkland area is also going through the same thing, a lot of revitalization on Pac Avenue. And then if you look around 72nd Street, which is kind of an interesting intersection, Pac Ave and 72nd, it's starting to see a lot more rebirth. The city has shut down a lot of problem hotel areas, and you're seeing the change. The other interesting thing about Pac Avenue in Tacoma is that Sound Transit, along with the city, Sound Transit runs the major, they run the Sounder, they run the Tacoma Link light rail system, they run the Link light rail system in Seattle. They're a major player, obviously, in the region. They're looking at Pac Avenue for their high transit capacity study. So what that means is that with high transit capacity, they're looking at either streetcars or bus rapid transit or light rail, right? So this means that because that avenue receives the most ridership of any in the city. Pac Ave runs all the way from Spanaway all the way down into downtown Tacoma. So this is really interesting because it intersects for one, it takes you right downtown to the Dome District, which is where you catch the Sounder, and eventually the Link Light Rail all the way from Seattle will come down to that area. It's where everything is, basically. So the new HTC line, once it gets completed in the next 4 to 5 years, will literally intersect that area. Will also go very close to where the existing Tacoma Link line is, which is also being expanded. So you can kind of get an idea where I'm going with this. In their study, they're showing that basically Pac Avenue is the best place for large-scale development, meaning that multifamily unit dwellings, apartment buildings, that type of thing, condos, because of the availability of land, because of the fact that it's sandwiched between an interstate on the south end of it, and then on the north end of it, you also have quick access to the interstate and, of course, downtown. And it's just a straight shot road, right? So Tacoma home prices along this transit study area, they predict will obviously increase, because obviously faster access in and around the region is always a good thing. More construction going on is a good thing. And a lot of developers know that this HTC study is going on and pretty much will be completed soon, and construction will start relatively soon after that. So a lot of them are getting into the market early so that they can actually get started, get cheaper land than what it will be, and build and develop and already be there. So basically, that's the direction that Tacoma is heading. Not nearly fast growth like you see in Seattle, but it is definitely a growing market. A lot of people are starting to consider Tacoma as the place to be. Now, in a different video, I kind of talked about Tacoma is looking to compete and get the Amazon headquarters. I don't think it will happen. I think it would be good if it did happen. I think Tacoma has a lot of benefits and pluses. It just doesn't make logical sense really for Tacoma to get HQ2. But Tacoma is trying to do other things that will lure companies here in terms of the IT world. So all of those things coming together is pretty much creating a market that even doesn't have anything to do with Seattle. It's creating its own synergy here down in Tacoma. All of those things, all the speculation, all of the development downtown is driving prices up. Not to mention the new hotel that's being developed downtown. It's a 20-something story building. Not to mention that they're opening up a whole new, there's a possibility that they're going to have ferry transit where you can get on a ferry, fast ferry from downtown all the way to Seattle. They're looking into that as well. So there's a lot of different things that are going on, a lot of speculation. So a lot of people want to beat the rush, get down here while prices are still relatively cheap, and in that $300,000 range, and able to get a pretty decent deal. I would say probably March of next year. So let's say spring of next year, prices in Tacoma are going to be pretty difficult in terms of a lot of people trying to purchase, because for one, you're going to look at a lot of people who, I mentioned the hotel for a reason, because a lot of the money used to build that hotel are from people who, I think it's the EB5 program. Don't quote me on that, but basically if you're a foreign investor, you can get several people to invest in a property in the United States or a development, and those people can then move to the United States. So Chinese developers building that hotel as we speak, as it's going up. That means those individuals have access to move to Tacoma or wherever they want to go in the United States. The developer says that he hopes that a lot of them intend on living here in Tacoma. So things like that, along with other programs and projects that are going on that are attracting foreign investors, more than likely that's going to also drive up the price. So I know this video sounds like it's all over the place and you're hearing happy if you know it over there, but that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and kind of just where the things are in terms of Tacoma. Prices are a lot more difficult. More stock is coming online in terms of houses, in terms of apartments, but it's really not slowing down the overall cost of homes. The Seattle effect is still definitely affecting Tacoma, but also Tacoma's making its own moves as well. That's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, I will see you. Take care.